my name is Amelia Nagoski, and I'm here today to talk about food, because the way your body responds to stress impacts whether or not you absorb the nutrients you've consumed, and also the food you eat impacts whether or not your body can respond to stress in a healthy way. So let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses that come along with an autism diagnosis. The first one is rigidity. We tend to love a structured routine to the point that if we cannot keep our structured routine, it is very, very stressful. And the good news is that most bodies prefer a routine, a predictable schedule when it comes to eating. Bodies really like to know that they're going to eat at the same time every day, and they really do learn to respond and expect food at certain times, and that's great for a nice predictable, digestive process. What's not great for a predictable digestive process is eating the same food every day. And if there are other autistic people like me, we like to eat the same food every day. We'd be totally happy just to eat the same food every day for weeks. And other people are like, oh, I just had that for lunch yesterday. I don't want to have it again. That sentiment baffles me. Why would you want something different? Whatever. It turns out that it's really good for your body to eat a wide variety of foods. Not only eat your whole rainbow of fruits and vegetables, because that's how you get the most amount of nutrients, but also it's really good for your body to be comfortable digesting whatever it can have in front of it. When you eat the same thing every day, your body gets used to digesting that, and then if you eat something different, your body will be shocked and surprised and be like, I don't even know how to deal with this. So it's great to kind of keep your body on its toes and teach it to be comfortable learning how to process a variety of new things. So it's not just the colors of your fruits and vegetables, but variety in all ways, wet food and dry food, all the food groups. And when I talk about colors, I mean the actual color of the food that it is when it comes out of the ground, if it's a plant, artificial colors don't count. So that's rigidity and routines that in some ways it's a benefit for us, and in some ways it's a weakness for autistic people and how we digest food. Another thing that has a big impact on how autistic people eat is our intense sensory responses, and the fact that when you put something in your mouth, it is very intense sensory. Not only is it a tactile intensity, the fact that, this is one of the most sensitive parts of your body with the most nerve endings, but it's in your mouth, which is very dangerous potentially. So you can be really sensitive. And so it's tactile, it's the flavor, and also it's the scent of the food. It's very intense. So a lot of us like really bland food. Bland food is less of an assault on our senses, but that's one of those things where it's going to prevent you from accessing variety, which again is really good for you. The other sensory thing that we tend to avoid is food that's very hard to chew. It's either really crunchy or really chewy. The experience of having a thing in your mouth for long enough to chew can be unpleasant, a little too intense, a little bit too much for too long. But chewing food really changes the way your body digests that food. As you're chewing and tasting and sensing and smelling, all of your digestive system is going, oh, there's food on the way. And it is, calibrating how much digestive juices and making the whole thing activate. And your food is digested better when you chew a lot. And since I have had some very, very bad digestive problems, chewing has become one of the things that I do really consciously. I count my chew, not every time I eat, but if I'm especially aware that digestive problems may lie ahead, I count. And honest to God, I chew 20 or 30 times. It sounds ridiculous. And it feels ridiculous when there's just this mash of food in my mouth. I could have swallowed this 10 chews ago. I could have, but if I don't, then the more work my teeth do, the better off my stomach is. And in addition to just physically preparing the food for digestion, also in the process of paying attention with my mind, especially if it's food that's good. And I really do recommend eating food you enjoy. It's really good for you to eat food that like gives you pleasure. Your mind is a part of your body, and it is also helping your digestive system prepare and know how to digest the food. And when you are in a state of enjoyment and pleasure, that's a state of safety. And your body digests food better when you are in a state of safety. When your stress response is activated, your digestive system becomes a much lower priority, because survival is the priority when you're in fight or flight, any kind of activated sympathetic polyvagal state. That means that your digestive system's like, you don't need me to do anything right now, right? Because like we gotta run from this lion. But when you're in that like safe, comfortable, ooh, I'm enjoying this state, that is when your food actually gets digested and you can actually absorb the nutrients from what you've eaten. Speaking of that, the third thing that I think impacts autistic people's eating is the question of socialization. For almost everyone, eating has always been a social activity. You know, you go out on a date, you have a meal. You know, you sit down with your family for dinner every night, or with the, wider community. Eating together is ceremonial, it is social, it is a sense of group safety is how most people operate. So eating together is a thing that helps people digest better. Do autistic people benefit from that in the same way? I do not know if it is as widely applicable to autistic people as it is to neurotypical people. But it may benefit you to try eating in the presence of a person you love and trust, who cares about your well-being as much as you care about theirs, and see, do you have a different experience when you eat it with somebody else? Does that give you a feeling of safety and comfort that helps your body, recognize that it doesn't have to save your life at this moment? It can focus on just dealing with this load of food that you've just given it. So you'll notice I haven't talked anything about calories, macronutrients, micronutrients. I don't care about any of that. As far as I can tell, the only advice that is true for everyone regarding all that stuff is you have to listen to your body and eat what your body tells you to eat. And the stuff I've talked about a consistent schedule, a variety of food, chewing, and not just eating like all soft food, because it goes down easy and you don't have to like suffer through the experience of having food in your mouth for all that time. So to eat food that's crunchy and chewy, and even food that's not crunchy and chewy, take your time and chew it. Anyway, so that like sensory thing, and then also the social question of experiencing safety with community while you're eating. Those are the things that I think actually make a difference to your wellness in terms of eating. And if anybody is saying like, here's exactly what you should eat, this is what's good for you and this is what's bad for you, and you should never eat this and you should always eat this, never and always are indicators that someone is wrong and does not have your best interests at heart, both in terms of nutrition and pleasure and fun, all of which food is capable of giving us. And maybe the most important thing I have to say is that the world is full of toxic, wrong-headed messages about food and pleasure and nutrition, and you can just go ahead and ignore all of it. It's fine. Your body will tell you what it wants you to eat. Your body will tell you what's good for you and what's going to benefit you. And it's okay if you need somebody to remind you of that sometimes, because the overwhelming amount of messages we get about the morality of certain food, right? That's all bullshit. So in order to overcome that overwhelming flood of information that is bad for you, it really helps to have somebody to tell you. And that's why overcoming burnout is not like a self-care thing you do, just you on your own, fighting off all the external messages about what you should be doing, which are incorrect. Only your body knows. And I'm here to tell you that, because the cure for burnout's not self-care. It's not just you doing it alone. Cure for burnout is all of us caring for each other and reminding each other that the outside world has messages that are inaccurate and untrue and dangerous. And the only ones that really matter are the ones that come from inside you.